men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God-loving conservatives, and they can't find a lot.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So we already know where this is going to go. This is going to be Andrew Wilson demolishing, slashing, bashing Anna Kasparian and Megyn Kelly. Yeah, Megyn Kelly. He's going to do what he does. Throughout the video, you'll see how I feel. I'm going to try really hard not to say what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, this is Andrew Wilson demolishing Anna and Megyn Kelly. He's going to bash Anna and Megyn Kelly. I'm trying to think of what words. Annihilate, nuke, wreck, shred, the whole bit. The reason why is because that Andrew Wilson is very... what is the word? He's convicted in his his practice of life, his life values. I mean, that's really the only way for me to say it. He's very convicted, and he's a convicted man. And he looks at these two women, and you already know where this is going to go. So without further ado, let us go ahead and watch this video. And guys, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you to every eye that lands on this video. Thank you so much. Let's go.
A lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how do we...
It's sad? Why is that sad? Can you imagine culmination of the right wing, which banks on Christian ethics for the entire purview of its base, saying that it's sad that men want to live inside of those ethical purviews. They want their wife to stay at home and look after their children and teach their children and help their children, rather than outsource that to... That's sad.
He cursed. He said effing strangers. And so that's what that was that you missed there.
Why don't they care about our careers? It's not what you're here for. You're not here for your career. There's nothing more important that you can do. And by the way, if you're super smart and you're a brilliant woman who could be a scientist, best thing you can do still is to reproduce. Why would we not want your genes to be reproduced? If you're brilliant, we want brilliant children, right? So reproduction is another, for brilliant women who can do this, right? That's even better. Even better. The whole culmination of this is like, why would you punish women who want to be working girls? Because it's at the expense of the other thing, which is so important to us, which is our reproduction, the replication of legacy. Your children are your legacy. They're what you leave behind in the world that keeps your genes left in the world. Even J.F. Gary Epi.
Okay, so let's move to the next clip of the girls talking and see his thought processes on that. I'm leaving my thoughts off until after the next clip, so please stick with me. Give me a long view duration on this too, guys. I usually don't like begging for certain things, but there's weird things happening on the algorithm. It's all good though. We enjoy making the video, so again, thank you to everybody who watches.
Oh, it's not possible. And even if it was for some vague few, it ain't going to be possible for almost anybody else on planet Earth.
Get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing, and get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would...
Now, without speaking on the issue just yet, Megyn Kelly knew to say, and by the way, she just totally played Anna Kasparian because she tried to like make her out to be some degen or something. I don't know why. Megyn Kelly and Anna Kasparian are both the same people. Megyn Kelly is saying to her, I'm speaking to a conservative audience, so they would want to hear more of me, more of Megyn Kelly. She knew not to call herself a conservative because that she is not. Well, she's a mainstream conservative, but all the traditional value type stuff, she's not. Listen, I do not hold punches when it comes to Megyn Kelly. I did an episode on Megyn Kelly and how she was championing the children. I have to be careful what I say. The so-called care, the affirming care that is supposed to be a beautiful thing that in fact is nothing but a bunch of medical malpractice. She championed that for the longest time, and I'm sorry, it doesn't take the whole, well, I thought this was something good, but then now I realize, like, anybody with basic elementary level understanding could tell you that children should have never been involved with this. Adults shouldn't be involved with this, but at least children. She championed that, all right? And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I think it's wrong. So miss me with it all. But let me finish. I want to hear the rest of what they're saying. But that's my answer to Megyn Kelly.
Would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually.
Yes, young men actually have their own preferences. They prefer not to have any sort of outsourcing for their children's care, but would rather that the mate they selected for care for their children, and they don't outsource that to complete strangers because they're not stupid. What I've witnessed about most women is that they have a limited ability to self-reflect. They can't own up to the fact their choices are harming society. It's all deflection and justification. Well, it's your fault. It's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. Yeah, right. You can work later when your children are grown if you really want to. Also, you can have a part-time job or things like that to assist your household, even times where you may have to have a full-time job to assist your household. But the idea that men can't have a preference that they want their wife to stay home and take care of children, knowing full well that that's going to give them the most well-adjusted children. That's what we got. What is...
Now, let me find the original clip here because it's funny because he pulled them both up, but Megyn does most of the talking. I think it's funny because like she's just sitting there like I don't want to be like a nothing, but dating conservative marriage. Yeah. So I just want to see.
There's this viral video. I'm sure you saw it.
Individuals that would be wonderful for her, including her now ex-boyfriend, because people change, people grow, and they shift their positions on issues here and there. I think it's wrong to think that, someone's political identity can't be fluid. I think it's fluid.
I'm not sure that this is even necessarily the point.
That's not necessarily true. It's much easier to meet somebody and have a baby in your 20s because you're young and you got your totally golden eggs. But so many women have kids in their 30s. I mean, without fertility help. And we've just sort of gotten to this place on the right where the messaging to me is like, it's making me really uncomfortable. What do you make of it?
Well, it's always made me uncomfortable, especially because I think the best possible situation is a situation in which women get to decide, right? So if they decide they want to be stay-at-home mothers, I think it's important to have the economic conditions that allow for that to happen. And I have a lot of respect for stay-at-home moms. I agree with you. I think that's literally the most difficult job in the world. And it's important for kids to have that close relationship with their mother growing up, especially in like the formative years. But I do think that it's possible for mothers to work and still be great mothers. The thing is, a lot of women don't even have that choice. You get what I'm saying?
They missed the buck, of course, and so now here's my thought processes on this, and I'm going to kind of leave it here. They missed the buck. The buck that Andrew's saying is, I mean, obviously, because he goes on to talk about, like, economic reasons and this, that, and the third as to why that can't always be the case, right? So obviously, we know that it's not all the time that women could just stay home and not go to work. So he talks about that. He says there's times where you got to make sacrifices and stuff like that. The woman does end up, like it's happened to him where his wife had to go back to work or whatever. He's saying the preference. These women are getting mad at men who are saying they want their wives to stay home. Like they're getting mad at the men for even thinking that. That's kind of, I'm feeling like what he's saying is wrong. It's like, what is the big deal about, not even more than what's the big deal. A man should want his wife to be able to stay home and raise the kids. This is not backwards thinking. It's forward thinking. It's just thinking. I would rather my wife be at home to raise our children with our values instead of her being out there and some stranger having the kid, for 8 hours a day. And in a Christian like infrastructure, a real one, this is why you see people say, we don't want Sharia law. It's like, bro, don't worry. Y'all never getting that because y'all don't even have Christian law. Like y'all don't. In reality, as a Christian, this is actually the way to go. The man, yes, should bring home the bacon and really, the type of man you need to wants to live this life and to live this life, he has to put in work too. I mean, I'm not sitting here making it seem like, he don't have to do anything, but she's just not going to go to work. Like, come on, let's keep it real. But he's saying that procreation, replication of legacy in life is the most important thing it is. And when Megyn talks about it, she's like, they just only want you to have kids. They only, only family, only. But the thing is, some people never get a chance to even get a family. So that's like a beautiful, it's not even just that. Family, it's God family property. Nothing else really comes above family. So I don't, because everybody will listen to Andrew Wilson and think that he locks his wife up in the basement. He doesn't. Actually, she kind of works with him, right? Even better to put together a conglomerate that you could do this together and make money together and be home. And you'll be surprised that in 2025, it's actually probably easier to do it than in 1960 because of our technology. So that's my point on it. Let me just see if he says anything else.
That can be the best reflection of the character of a man. Often is what he puts out in the world. He can do this a few different ways. One way is what he builds. That's one way. Another way is the reflection of his children.
Then that's actually a beautiful thought. We'll leave it right there. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.